दोस्तों हम लोग ये वीडियोस बना रहे हैं और आपको ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि ये वीडियोस हम लोग जो बनाते हैं वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सब्सक्राइब करें, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें, ताकि हमारा जो नंबर्स है वो 1000 के ऊपर जाए, उसको कुछ तो रेवेन्यू बने और वो रेवेन्यू का हम लोग अपना फेडरेशन के लिए यूज़ भी कर सकते हैं। तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है कि आपके जो सोसाइटी मेंबर्स है, मतलब आपकी सोसाइटी में व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स है या फिर आपके रिलेटिव्स है या जो भी है आपके सब कमेटी मेंबर्स है, इनको सबको ये वीडियोस हम जो बना रहे हैं, एक तो इससे अवेयरनेस क्रिएट हो जाएगा, लोगों को इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलेगा और ये सब आप करेंगे, फिर उसको सब्सक्राइब शेयर करेंगे तो हमारे पास एक थोड़ा सा कुछ तो रेवेन्यू भी जनरेट करने का ज़रिया बनेगा। तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है, प्लीज़ इसको शेयर करें, सब्सक्राइब करें, फॉरवर्ड करें। थैंक यू। Friends, I am bringing you a very important topic today, which is, I will call it as Zamindari versus Freehold, much needed land reforms. Now let us understand what I mean by Zamindari system. The lands that have been granted to the citizens have been done over a period of time, say from the British times, the Portuguese times in Mumbai city, and in other parts of Maharashtra it has been going on for thousands of years. The tenures of, say, let us say Mumbai city, the Portuguese came in something around 1600 or something like that, and there were 7 villages. They granted the lands to citizens of Mumbai, and those lands, even now the tenures are existing, like Fazindari tenures, pension and tax tenures. There are 15 different types of tenures in city of Mumbai. Similarly, the tenures in all over Maharashtra are either Vatandari tenures or Kulkarni lands, or so many types of tenures were there. And post independence, those tenures were abolished and the lands were re-granted under class 2 lands. So another kind of zamindari came in, because the state government became the superior holder. So this concept of superior holder has to go away. In the zamindari system, the land is the tiller is not the actual owner of the land, and there is some other owner, and there are levels of owners. So for example, a tiller of land is a farmer, and then there is a watandar, then there is a king. So everyone takes some money from everybody. What we want to do, is we want to do away with all these legacy systems. That's what the freedom is all about. In the sense, we got the freedom in 1947, but the real freedom has to yet to come. And there is a likelihood that if it is not understood well, then the old zamindari system will have, it will be like old wine in new bottle kind of system will emerge, and it will create problems for the citizens of this state. Why I am saying that is, let us say the old system, legacy systems were there, and those post independence, why I am saying that there is a kind of old wine in new bottle kind of thing that will happen, is, let us say there is a GR in 1957, where for every transfer of land the government said that you have to pay 50% of the unearned income. Now unearned income is about the same as what is called capital gains tax. Capital gains. So you buy for 1 rupee and you sell for 5 rupees, that 4 rupees becomes unearned income or capital gain. The government says 50% should be given to me, and you have to take prior approval from the government. So you have to go to the government, make an application, get the approval, and then you sell it, pay 50%, again go to the government for final approval. And supposing you avoid this procedure, the government says there is 50% additional penalty on this. So 75% penalty was being charged in from 1957. Now this system, we can say post independence, again it's kind of a zamindari system that is there. Of course in 2012 it was toned down, because there was another GR which said that the right of the land, right of the government in the land is only 25%. So the government can take only 50% of the 25% that the government earns. So totally 12.5%. But there is a tendency among the bureaucrats or politicians, if they don't understand this thing, then they can create a kind of a zamindari system that will hamper or affect the citizens in doing their regular business. So post independence also, the tendency to use this for revenue purposes has been there. But let us say that you are subjecting only certain citizens to this revenue. Rest all citizens are not subject to this revenue. And whether there is a justification for this revenue. First of all, there has to be a legal or moral or ethical justification for this revenue. And whether this revenue that is generated can make life difficult or easy for the citizens of this state. These are the questions that are most important while doing that. And whether you are subjecting to one set of citizens certain rules and regulations and not to others. So then it also creates a kind of disparity between the citizens, what you call the land values or the flat home values and all that. And this is also not good for the citizens. So what happened is, all these problems are there. Now let us go to the reforms part of it. Like, let us say if there is a legacy system, there has been committees appointed which have gone through these problems, and then they have suggested reforms. And what are the reforms that have been suggested? So in 2006, there is a Mr. SHRI Ratnakar Gaikwad was the director of this institute called YESDA in Pune. It's basically a training institute for IS officers, and he appointed a certain set of people who would go through the various reforms suggested and compile with and come out with a report, which would then become the guiding principles for the government to adhere to or adopt. So 2006, Mr. Ratnakar Gaikwad appointed a set of people. For Revenue Department, Sudhakar Rao Chaudhary, ex-IS officer, Shri Sudhakar Rao Chaudhary, a retired ex-IS officer, was the head of the Revenue Reforms project. And Shri Nitin Karir was the chief consultant to the all the reforms basically. So and all of the people who were there actually were IS officers, and so all of these people were IS officers who went through these reports, and then they came out with the final report. Now, what is the report that it says? I'll display these 5 points that are there, but I'll go through the most crucial point that is there for as far as land reforms is concerned, or this freehold issue is concerned. Now it says the law should be amended. I'm reading the main part of the whole report. The law should be amended to declare a general amnesty that all such plot holders should be categorized. All such plot holders will be recognized as class 1 occupants if they pay a nominal fee of ₹1 per square foot. Now it says 1 per square foot, ₹1 per square foot should be charged to convert to freehold basically. Say class 1 occupants is freehold. So to convert to freehold, they are saying ₹1 per square foot should be charged. Then it says the measure will generate substantial revenue, remove an anachronism, and make the title freely marketable. So they are saying that it will generate revenue, it will remove a old legacy, difficult system, and make the titles freely marketable. Now, when you make titles freely marketable, it works in the favor of the government because it starts generating good revenues for the government, and it makes the life of citizens much easier. Such a step will also validate all mortgages of such plots with financial institutions. Now, this is what this report says. There is another point I want to bring in the same report that is there. The unification of tenures should precede the settlement. The baggage of the past is the burden of the present, lest it becomes legacy for the future. Rationalization and unification of tenures, including in the city of Mumbai, where Portuguese tenures continue to hold sway, is the need of the hour. The enormous relief that such a measure will afford to citizens cannot be quantified, but it can be safely assumed that substantial sums will accrue to the state government. Now, this is the report that is been. I am talking about specific relevant points, which are basically about freehold of the lands. It says that unification of tenures. When it says unification of tenures, it means that all the tenures, whether it is class 2 lands, lease lands, whether it is various types of other nazul lands or whatever, should be converted into one single tenure, which is occupancy class 1 tenure or freehold of lands. So we have to move from a zamindari system to freehold of lands, and that is basically where the actual freedom will come in, where citizens can then breathe easy, and the titles will be much more marketable, and it will generate substantial revenues to the government. This system is like now like a river which is stopped, and then it becomes like a gutter and it doesn't flow. So that is what is happening. What has happened is, over a period of time, the government has made lot of rules. It has increased the various transfer charges and all that. Now this has made the titles not as marketable as possible, not freely marketable titles. Now then, if it was freely marketable, the government would have generated substantial revenue in terms of stamp duty. Not only that, the actual legitimate revenue for which the government should charge, which is NA tax or land revenue, has been stopped for a long time. That revenue would actually should be very nominal, where people will not feel the burden of paying, and that has been stopped. And then you say ki, okay, I want to make revenue from these lands. If these lands are subjected to pressure of revenue, and all the other lands are free of any revenue. Land revenue, that is NA tax, or I don't want to say that agriculture should be taxed, because earlier agriculture was taxed. Now there is a very minor tax that they pay, very small tax. But all other urban lands should be taxed to NA tax at a very nominal 0.01% of the ready reckoner rate. Now they have said it is 0.05, which is 5 times higher, and everybody should pay and should generate revenue for the government. But these lands, if you subject to the restrictions and revenue, then they are going to face lot of problems in terms of redevelopment. So this problem comes when issues like redevelopment happen. At the time of redevelopment, all these rules come against the society or the landholder, and then the society or the landholder is not properly able to develop the lands. Sometimes the buildings come into dilapidated conditions, and then because they get stuck into these rules and regulations, and they cannot do that, then the people are, say, let us say take Naik Nagar. It has also got stuck in the rules and regulations. It cannot do freehold. It cannot come out of the problems that are there. Already in the society there are a lot of problems, there are a lot of differences and all that. But if the government makes it difficult for societies to redevelop, then it's possible that over a period of time many buildings will collapse. This high time that the lands are made freehold. I will tell you one more example. Agricultural lands which were under the inferior tenures, they are saying ki abolition of tenures, Watandari and all that, Kulkarni lands. Now when you abolish the lands, you should have made them freehold. Now you have made them class 2 lands. Again the government becomes the superior holder in this case, and when they want to convert the land, they are saying 50% of the market rate or ready reckoner rate. Now these are very high amounts which the government is asking, and it will not generate any revenue if this government asks for this kind of sums of money. the government should come out with a very low premium to convert to freehold. Maharashtra state is lagging behind in conversion of freehold. We are supposed to be the most progressive state. We are supposed to be the most industrially progressive state. But as far as land reforms is concerned, we are the most regressive, most delayed reforms that are happening in Maharashtra. I'll give you an example. Gujarat still continues with Bombay Land Revenue Code, and it came out in 2010 with freehold scheme. Madhya Pradesh in 2010 came out with a freehold scheme where it converted lands from for residential purpose for 1%. UP, Delhi, West Bengal, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, Chandigarh, sorry, all these states have come way back, long time back, to make the lands freehold, come out with schemes, policies to make the lands freehold. Now, why is Maharashtra lagging? Why Maharashtra's bureaucracy or politicians should understand that people's lives are now at stake, and if they do not convert these lands to freehold, there will be more casualties like Naik Nagar, and they should make these lands freehold at 5%, which we are asking as what we have given to the Nazul lands. Thank you. दोस्तों, किसी को कुछ सवाल है या कुछ प्रॉब्लम है और वो चाहते हैं मेरे से बात करें, तो मेरा मोबाइल नंबर आप फ़ोन कर सकते हैं बिटवीन 11 to 6, और वो मेरा नंबर है 9324869143। बट मेरा रिक्वेस्ट ये है कि ये आपका इशू जो जेन्युइन होना चाहिए, जनरल ऐसे बातें के लिए मत फ़ोन करिए, और जो भी है मतलब आपका कुछ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है तो व्हाट्सएप में पहले भेजिए। तो मेरा फ़ोन नंबर मैं वापस रिपीट करता हूँ 9324869143। थैंक यू।